Bore da pawb. Good morning, everyone. Could you please remain standing for prayers by my chaplain before we start the meeting? Thank you, members. Please be seated. Okay, before we start formally, I would like to read out my usual notices. I'd like to remind everybody that this council meeting is being broadcast live over the internet, so we are all on camera. Please be aware you may be visible on screen when people around you are speaking, and please remember to speak clearly into your microphones. This meeting is available to view online now and in the future, whenever and wherever people wish to watch it. Therefore, there is no need for any other filming of the meeting to take place. We welcome the use of the Welsh language at meetings. I have had no requests for people to speak Welsh today, however, so this meeting will be conducted in English only. I'd like to welcome everybody attending the meeting and anybody watching the meeting via the webcast. However, can I ask that all mobile phones and other noisy devices be put on silent? If there is an emergency alarm, follow the green signs and go to the ground floor of the Civic car park. Finally, if we have any motions or amendments during the meeting, I will need them to be clear, please, before we go to the vote. I will chair the meeting until the presiding member is elected and will then hand over the chair to that person. So, our first agenda item would be the appointment of the presiding member. I think for people watching the webcast, it might seem a little counterintuitive, because obviously the new chair must come from a chair of another chair with a senior salary. However, regulation states you must do this first. So when you nominate, please bear in mind it must be somebody who will then go on to be a chair. If that doesn't happen, we will deal with that at that stage of the agenda. Okay, thank you, members. The recommendation is on page 4 of the agenda. Are there any questions or comments? Yeah. No. So can I have a nomination, please? Do I have a seconder? Are there any other nominations? Okay then. In that case, can I have a show of hands? All those in favour? Thank you. Anybody against? And anybody abstaining? Thank you, members. That's agreed. It's kind of strange, because I will now hand over to myself to chair the rest of the meeting. Thank you. It's been decided that I'll keep the chains on until afterwards, so we can have a smooth flowing, just in case anyone's wondering. Okay. We'll move on to agenda item 2, appointment of deputy presiding member. Can I ask for a nomination, please? Thank you. Any other nominations? Thank you, members. Can I have a show of hands, everybody in favour? Thank you. Anybody against? And any abstentions? Thank you very much, members. Norma Parish is duly elected as the deputy presiding member for the year ahead. Again, I think it was agreed that Norma can stay where she is, just so we all keep moving. Agenda item 3 then, apologies for absence. Dominique Redmond, have we had any apologies, please?
I've had apologies from councillors Cathy Evans and Gwyn Jenkins.
Members, are there any other apologies you know of?
Giles Davis.
Thank you. The attendance register will be going around. You could sign it and pass it on. Agenda item 4, declarations of interest. Dallas Harris, monitoring officer, do you have any advice for members, please?
Yes, thank you. All members potentially have the same personal interest in being appointed to positions which attract senior salaries. The interest is not prejudicial, as there is an exemption in the codes. So if all members could confirm that they agree to that declaration. Thank you.
I'll say agreed if we agree.
Agreed.
Members, if you do have any other interest to declare, please make sure you write it on the form as well in the attendance register. Okay, agenda item 5, announcements from the Chief Executive. Chief Executive, do you have any announcements?
Thank you, Chair. I've just been trying to decide what to call you, but I think Chair is probably the best title with you, because I think presiding member is a bit of a mouthful. Chair, I would like to present to you the past mayor medals for yourself and your consort. I know your consort is sitting in the council chamber, together with our thanks for your year as last mayor. I'm sure everybody's tremendously grateful and pleased with the role that you played. Also, I have Mr. Aurelius, my lovely assistant, who's handing me some flowers.
That's mine in the brief.
Thank you.
For you. We'll put those.
I should pop them by here.
Oh, okay. We can put them somewhere safe for you. But thank you very much. And I know you'd like to say a few words about your year as mayor, so perhaps this would be the opportunity to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Executive. I don't see why we should get out of the speech just because it's ending, so you're going to suffer. It's only one side of A4, so it won't be too bad. I'd just like to say it's been a real honour and a privilege to serve as mayor this last year. I've met so many inspirational people, seen some of the truly amazing work going on in our community, and attended all kinds of weird and wonderful events. I've officially opened not 1 but 2 toilets, embarrassed myself countless times over in the name of charity, and blown the starting whistle at the Men's Roller Derby Association's World Championships, which I never knew existed before that point. However, there has also been a more solemn side to the role. I attended the funerals of 2 former mayors during my time in office, Doug Davis and Anne James. And of course, this afternoon we have the funeral of another former mayor, Bob Jones. I think that sense of upholding tradition, of being a civic representative, most hit home for me at remembrance events, Remembrance Day was especially moving, and I would like to thank my fantastic mayoral cadet, Seren Gunningham of the Torvine Sea Cadets, for all her support on the day. In truth, there are more people I need to thank than I can possibly fit into this short speech. Everybody who invited me to an event, everyone who supported my charity appeal, and if you haven't bought a raffle ticket yet, somebody will be ready to accost you after the meeting before we draw it. The money will be split 3 ways between Lincoln's Legs, Torvine Mind and Cavanal Women's Aid. I specifically want to thank my chaplain, Haral Thomas, Stuart Evans, my deputy mayor, my mini-mayor, Mariana, and my consort, Anthony, who complained about the initial draft of this speech because he wasn't mentioned. So, there we are. I would also like to thank Chris Slade and everyone in the office for making up for my lack of organisational skills, my mum for babysitting above and beyond the call of duty, and Hal Davis for everything. I literally would have been lost without him. I think I speak for all of us when I say that Hal has been a real driving force in the role of the mayor. But in the 2 decades he has done the job, he has shown nothing but dedication and professionalism of the highest standard. And I personally can't wait for his memoirs. They'll be amazing. Because this really is the end of an era. When I was first elected to council in 2012, I was quite dismissive of the idea of us needing a mayor. It seemed outdated and unnecessary, and I struggled to see the point. Over the years, however, I changed my mind. Not, sadly, because I was getting paid £50,000, like some people assumed after the budget savings went public. I've heard that a few times. But because I could see that it did matter to people. Actually serving as first deputy and then mayor was a real eye-opener to how important the office still was to many members of the public, and the positive impact it could have on people's lives. Because what to you is just an afternoon of shaking hands and handing out certificates can be a really special memory to those involved. I've been incredibly touched to see how much it meant to people that I, or perhaps more accurately what I was representing by wearing the chains, attended their event. Being apolitical for the year was a little lonely at times. You're not at group match, you don't see your colleagues as much as you usually would in committee or in the members' room. But it also gives you a unique ability to represent the authority without all the political baggage you would usually have. When you're elected, you become the people's representative to the council, but as mayor, you become the council's representative to the people. And I really hope that going forward, we work to maintain that civic engagement with our residents and neighbours. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, members. Agenda item 6 then, election of the leader of the council. Can I have a nomination for the leader for the year ahead?
Nominate Anthony Hunt.
Second, are there any other nominations? Yeah.
I nominate Councillor Ron Burnett.
Seconded, and that's for a recorded vote.
Thank you. Can I have 6 people for the... Thank you. Very good. Right, thank you, Emma. So the recorded vote is agreed, so we will now go to the recorded vote. Dominic Redmond will read out your name, and can you please answer for, against or abstain, and the surname of the member. Thank you. Oh, can I ask turn right?
Councillor Ashley,
For Hunt.
Councillor Bevan,
For Hunt.
Councillor Burnett,
For Burnett.
Councillor Karen,
For Hunt.
Councillor Clark, Councillor Constance,
For Hunt.
Councillor Crick,
For Hunt.
Councillor Cross,
For Hunt.
Councillor Daniels,
For Hunt.
Councillor Stephen Evans,
Councillor Hunt.
Councillor Stuart Evans,
For Burnett.
Councillor Gordon,
For Hunt.
Councillor Haynes,
Burnett.
Councillor Hawler,
For Hunt.
Councillor Hunt,
For Hunt.
Councillor James,
For Hunt.
Councillor Jeremiah,
For Burnett.
Councillor Alan Jones, Councillor Fee Jones, Councillor Janet Jones,
Councillor Burnett.
Councillor Nicholas Jones,
Councillor Hunt.
Sir Peter Jones,
Anthony Hunt.
Councillor Kemp,
For Burnett.
Councillor Molson,
For Anthony Hunt.
Councillor Mills,
For Hunt.
Councillor O'Connell,
Burnett.
Councillor Overton,
For Hunt.
Councillor Owen,
For Hunt.
Councillor Parrish,
For Hunt.
Councillor Powell,
For Hunt.
Councillor Preston,
For Hunt.
Councillor Rapier,
For Hunt.
Councillor Seaborn, Councillor Shepherd,
Burnett.
Councillor Slade, Councillor Chew,
Burnett.
Councillor Colette Thomas,
Councillor Anthony Hunt.
Councillor Dave Thomas,
For Hunt.
Councillor Waite,
For Hunt.
Councillor Williams, Councillor Yeo.
For Hunt.
Thank you, members. We had 30 votes for Councillor Hunt and 10 for Councillor Burnett, so Anthony Hunt is duly elected as leader for the coming year.
Madam Mayor, I won't ask for a recount, okay?
Thank you. Anthony, is there anything you wish to say?
Thank you, Chair. First of all, can I begin by passing on my condolences to the family of the late Bob Jones, former councillor and mayor of Torvine, who was a great friend and colleague to so many of us in this chamber. Thank you to Harold Thomas for the minute's silence at the start of this meeting. And I'd like to see you all at Bob's funeral this afternoon at 2:30 at St Mary's Church in Crossy-Killiog. I'd also like to pass on our condolences on behalf of all members and officers of the council to Councillor Gwyn Jenkins on the very sad death of his wife Carol. We're all thinking of him and sending him our prayers. Carol's funeral is tomorrow at 12 noon at Nodva Baptist Church in Abersucken. I'd like to continue by saying thank you to Jess for her year of office as Mayor. She has chaired council with great skill and fairness to all members. She is also for me an inspiration as a young woman in the Mayor's role, alongside Anthony and Mariana, who's been a fantastic consort at many events and has behaved much better than my own children probably would have done if they'd have been alongside me. So congratulations to them too. I know you recognise that although you're the last Mayor, that we all respect fantastically the work you've done. I'd also like to thank your office for all their hard work over the years, particularly Chris and Howell, who have served mayors and other councillors with great distinction. I'd also like to pay tribute to Stuart Evans for his work as Deputy Mayor. I'd like to thank Harold for being such a good Mayor's chaplain as well, and I hope his association with the council will continue, because I really value the contribution he makes at the start of our meetings. I know that many members say goodbye to the Mayor's role with great sadness, but unfortunately we have to put frontline services first in the current climate. I do, however, share Jess's hope about maintaining civic engagement and charity work under the new system, and that's something that I think all members will want to get involved with. Personally, can I say thank you for your support over the last year and on re-election of leader of this council. I know I'm not really one for pomp and ceremony, and I can be perhaps a little bit irreverent at times, but I really do view this as a great privilege to lead this council and to lead so many fantastic councillors and such a great community. That's really something I might be light-hearted sometimes, but it's something I really do respect as a role. These are the toughest of times for public services thanks to austerity. Leading a council in austerity Britain's a bit like cooking a 3-course meal in the middle of a storm on a boat. The meal won't be perfect, but as a cook you'll probably think you did your best in the circumstances. That doesn't, however, mean we shouldn't look to improve all the time. I'll try to listen and take time aside from all the meetings to hear your views as members wherever possible, even if any leader can't always say yes in this job. And at this point, I'd like to thank all members for the job you do, both here and in your communities. I know it's not easy, but I respect the job all members do, regardless of their party allegiance. And regardless of whether you support me as leader or not, I view you all as people who contribute a great deal to our communities, and so you've got my respect and my ear whenever you need it. Former Caerphilly leader Harry Thomas, who died this year, always said you should show respect and decency towards people, even if they disagree with you. I hope I manage this as leader, even in frustrating times. I'd also, in closing, like to thank all staff. The work you do, educating our children, protecting the vulnerable, keeping our area as clean and green as possible, running community services, is vital and shows the value of public servants running public services. I know your job isn't easy, with ever fewer people to do ever more work, but the job you do deserves respect. And from me as leader, you'll always get that, as I know you do from all other members. So thank you. And I'll end really by repeating my call. Given that respect that we have in this chamber for public servants doing vital public services, austerity really needs to end if those public services as we know them are to survive. So thank you for your support as leader, and I look forward to working with all of you over the coming year.
Thank you. Okay then, agenda item 7, which is the election of the deputy.
Madam Mayor, could I just
yes.
say a few words? Thank you. I'd just like to concur with Anthony and there. First of all, I'd like to congratulate you for just putting me at the post there. But again, what Anthony said, it's a sad day on several occasions today. Firstly, it's the end of the mayoral role, and I know you've worked very hard in this past year representing this borough. I know your little one, a couple of things, I've been there, she's loved it as well. And it's a sad day as well, because we'll be attending Bob's funeral later on, who is a colleague from this council, but a very good friend of mine over the years, him and his wife. He's been, for many years, a friend of mine. And again, tomorrow, Councillor Gwyn Jenks, his wife's funeral. It's very, very sad. But just again, once again, thank you. I know you've worked very hard. I think thanks goes to all the officers that support us in this council. And we very often need their support, and I know how hard they work and what they have to work with, and with the resources being cut all the time. But we thank you all for supporting us. But once again, Madam Mayor, thanks for what you've done this year, and I've seen you a few times, and there's been some fun as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Presiding Officer. Chair, can I just thank you on behalf of the Conservative Group to, first of all, congratulate Anthony Hunt on being re-elected as leader. Can I thank you for the fantastic job as you did as Mayor. Every resident I've come in contact with that have attended a function that you've attended have said, what a charming lady you are. And they said, isn't Jess lovely? And I echo that. I would also like to thank all the staff, and I don't normally single out a particular person, but I think it is appropriate on this time that I single out Howell. He's been a fantastic servant. He's given me personally lots of great advice, and he had a great sense of humour as well. So can I just thank everybody? Thank you.
Okay, the members. Agenda item 7, election of deputy leader. Can I invite nominations for the deputy leader? Do we have anyone? Second. Any other nominations? In that case, members, can I have a show of hands, all those in favour of Richard? Anybody against? Any abstentions? Thank you. Richard, you're duly elected as deputy leader. Would you wish to say anything?
I'd like to thank members for the support and look forward to working with Anthony in the year ahead. I think very little other than that to be said.
Thank you. And then agenda item 8, appointment of the remaining cabinet members. I invite the leader to present the report, which starts on page 11 of the agenda.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to appoint the current, the following list as outlined in 3.1 to the portfolios. Health, Adult Services and Wellbeing, Richard Clark. Education and Lifelong Learning, David Yole. Communities, Housing and Anti-Poverty, Dave Daniels. Environment, Fiona Cross. Business, Tourism, Leisure and Culture, Alan Jones. Performance Improvement and Corporate Governance, Veronica Crick. Children and Young People, Amanda Owen.
Do we have a seconder for that? Thank you. Can I have a show of hands then for agreement to that? All those in favour? Anybody against? Any abstentions? Thank you very much, members. That is carried. Agenda item 9, political balance. Can I ask Richard Edmonds, Head of Strategic and Democratic Services, to present your report, which starts on page 13 of the agenda.
Which item are we on, sorry?
Item 9, page 13. So I think we might have had a crosswise. I put it down. I don't think Ed knew it was coming.
Yes, there's a new one on me, members. I wasn't anticipating I'd be delivering this report, so bear with me while I familiarise myself. These are all standard reports. Essentially, the recommendation associated with this one is that Council agree the political balance and adopt the political balance calculations attached to the report and has regard to them when appointing members to committees later in the meeting. How's that?
Right, so do we all agree to that statement about political balance? Give a show of hands. All those in favour? Thank you. Anybody against? Any abstentions? Thank you, members. That's carried. Thank you. You're okay. Agenda item 10, then, appointment of the chairs of committees. Can I invite the leader to nominate the chairs for the committees listed in paragraph 4.3 of the report on page 17.
Okay, I'd like to appoint the following members to the appointments as regulatory committee chairs: planning, Norma Parish; licensing, Dave Thomas; pensions, Glyn Carron; and the scrutiny committees: cleaner, Peter Jones; learning, Jess Powell; resources, Stuart Ashley; healthier, Jason O'Connell; safer, Elizabeth Haynes; and democratic services, Ray Mills.
Can I have a seconder for those nominations? Yep. All those in favour? Anybody against? Any abstentions? No, thank you, members. That's agreed. Agenda item 11: committees, groups, and other bodies. I've got Ed down again to do this, but I think you're okay. I think you should have the list which has gone round. Are we all agreed to the list? Show of hands. All those in favour? Anybody against? Any abstentions? Thank you, members. That's carried. Agenda item 12 is nominations to outside bodies. Again, you've already received the list which has gone around. I think if there are any issues, you can go to your group leaders after the meeting. But in principle, are we all agreed to the list of outside bodies? Yeah, just a quick show of hands then. In favour? Anybody against? Any abstentions? Thank you, members. That's carried. So that is now the end of the council meeting. But can I ask, please, for people to remain, or to stand even, whilst the top dice leave the chamber, as we've had to do that. Thank you for your attendance and contributions.